Sugar is 35.55. I'll take 86.30. It's cool, Luis. And then I'm looking for 3 blocks of butter plus 273. Let's go ahead and put that butter in the bowl once it's at the right time. You're about 2 minutes away. I will take a starter because I'm ready for it. Angela, you ready for another one? And can you pass me that dough hook? Auto lease complete here. Throw a Harriet on top. Meanwhile, I have a croissant dough mix in the works and another auto lease going. So this will be my first mix out of the bowl. Still just needs its salt, which Angelo has right here. It's our second week here at this facility mixing all of our doughs. This is now our bread headquarters, if you will. We'll be mixing and shaping all the bread for proof out of this room today, which is a big change versus what it was in the past. Mesa is now turning into a pastry headquarters. So a little bit more focus for both facilities, a little bit more participation on the front of this facility, but a lot more refinement in both places. Hoping that it leads to a future of digging deeper into these programs and investing into the future of our bread and pastry, doing even cooler things because we have more bandwidth to do so. Let's get salt in the bowl. So this auto lease is completed now. We did do one bit of damage when we moved this mixer. It was this lid popped open. I already have a new one here. I'm going to install it later this week. I'll take it as far as damage from moving the 1-ton mixer between facilities ourselves. We didn't have time to hire a company. It had to happen late in the night between Easter and kind of the rest of the spring. So we did it right after we finished our Easter production. We took 2 days off last week from sales. Not 2 days off in reality. We were moving this mixer, moving all the other equipment that kind of goes along with the mixer. With the mixer come bread crates, with the mixer come, our sourdough starter tank, amongst other things, the giant mixing bowls. Lots of equipment had to move locations, so we were definitely a moving company over the weekend. So the tank no longer lives in Mesa, but we still refresh daily in Mesa. We're still mixing our English muffin dough there. We didn't cut Mesa off completely. We're retaining the skill that we have over there in mixing. We got baguette dough in this mixer. It's auto leasing, and it will be for a little bit of time. No harm in putting the starter in the bowl, so it's ready to go. We typically keep our auto leases going for around 20 minutes. Hey, you guys, everybody look over here. See this thing? This mixer has a tendency of not locking all the way in. So as a safe measure, always just push the down button twice, and that way it will lock in. And that's what it does if it isn't locked in all the way. I'm not really sure why it does that. It didn't used to do that, but it's a relatively small issue for now. I would like advice on why it's doing this and how I can fix it. So in the kitchen right now, everybody's got a role to play, and it's interesting. It's like a bit of a symphony. We're all getting ready for the event of shaping bread, unless you're Maddie, who's getting ready for the event of selling bread up front. She came back here to cut out some pizza, cut out some ciabatta, and she's baking up front today. Chance is getting all of our supplies ready for shaping bread, so he's buttering sandwich pans. We shape bread here for 3 locations and also for farmers markets. And so you can see all the different colors of tape that we have. Those colors correspond to locations. For now, while we're a 3-location bakery, color is awesome. We hopefully will remain in color code mode. I understand that eventually if you have a lot of locations, you can't really function on color as well. I need to add some water to this dough now for the bassonage. 2 liters of water, dispensing around 26 degrees Celsius. I'm a little late to the Valentich party for my mix timer, which is fine. I can just extend the mix time a little bit longer. That's not a problem. We tend to mix for relatively short amounts of time at proof due to the autolyse process, sort of getting the process going up front, combined with the fact that we have very strong flour from kind of the western United States. It's sort of known for its protein levels and strength, and so it mixes up pretty quickly to full development. Yeah, so I'll get the sandwich dough started, and Luis, I'm going to have you start working on cutting out sourdough, because it'll be ready. We still need, before we shape, we're going to need the bannetons, so remind me after inclusions for the bannetons. Luis is going to come over here, and he's going to start preparing the bins for fruit nut, green olive, and seeded multigrain. And then they get $12.80 per the prepared inclusions. The legs on this need to be tightened. It's doing a dance. We bought that mixer with the bakery in Litchfield Park, and well, I'm still learning its kinks. It's Luis. Just don't forget about this little guy. So the rest of them can just go as marked, and then you'll go 7 bins of sourdough. Do a quick calculation, 22,680 minus 19,682. So for this mix, I'm just taking out 3K. It's easier than going the other way. It's mostly a full bag of flour. It's early in our week, so our mixes are very light compared to later in the week. Most of these mixers are relatively empty right now, but that's also part of the benefit of the change that we made, where we have more mixers at our disposal in one place, and makes the loads a little lighter. Like that one's wholly underutilized for the day of the week. I don't have mixes big enough for its bowls. But it is really early in the week, so by the time Wednesday, Thursday rolls around, we use all of our equipment to capacity. It's a stark change. So we're going to get this autolyse going for second mix through this mixer today. I've only been here probably 30 minutes. We've already gotten a mix out of this bowl. The mix we had in here didn't have an autolyse. It was our croissant dough. We don't autolyse that dough, but we do want to get it out early in the day. The croissants have to be bulk fermented, stretched, sheeted, and cooled, and we want them to be fully cooled before they leave the facility for Mesa. Sometimes the refrigerated trucks are less reliable for cooling. They open the door up and down, especially in the heat of the summer. We want to make sure that the product going into that truck is already really cold, especially when it comes to the croissant dough. Overproofed croissant dough at the sheeter is a nightmare to work with, and so trying to avoid that to whatever extent we can. We like to lightly macerate them once you're putting them in, so you're going to basically squeeze them. The olive lovers do like the giant olives, but they also equally don't like slices without olive.
Makes those short. Seeds and multigrain.
I can take that bucket out of your way too, so it's not covering your lids. Keep a very tight workspace so that it doesn't end up spilling into others. And Angela, you can take that R1, cross it out, and write an R2 now. So we're about an hour into the day, you guys, just as an idea of kind of pace. We've got sourdough almost out of the first mix. We've got inclusions folded in, or we're working on inclusions as we go. Baguettes are in a bin. Sandwich dough is about to be fully mixed. Autolyse is done. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we can get within an hour. But for me, it's really important to get the mixes going because it's the pace setting for the whole day. You don't get those things out. Everybody's here an hour later if these mixes are out an hour later. Angela, will you get me milk powder, salt, light brown sugar for this mix?
I'm gonna tag the bag on.
Should really get milling going. That way I don't have to worry about this rye. I do not autolyse a scald. Autolyse is always just flour and water. This is the base for our croissant, the base bread flour mix. We have a type 85 flour, organic, that we source from Central Milling right now as this base with water, so that forms our autolyse. But look at how much croissant scald is going into this base. It's nearly the same amount of croissant scald as there is already base. And what makes this bread so special is it's so well hydrated because of this. This is a very wet scald, 2-to-1 water to grain. You guys as a team, you can take note of this. I trust everybody here, but I trust my eyes and the scale more. So this got prepped yesterday, but it doesn't have an amount written on it. So, I mean, I'm not going to just put it in the bowl. I guess all I'm saying is when we do the scald for tomorrow, write the amount on the label. So now that I have the autolyse, the scald just goes right on top. And while the autolyse is going, I can get the rest of my ingredients, meaning the scald and the salt and the sourdough starter in the bowl. By the time I do that, likely 20 minutes have transpired, especially because I'm probably going to get distracted by 1 or 2 other things along the way, and I can just get going on the mix. Already we're probably at the 5-minute mark. I didn't pull this bowl right away, and that's how autolysis sort of naturally can be a part of an environment. You don't actually even need multiple mixers. If you go back to our garage days, I didn't always use multiple mixers on every day. But, you know, maybe I was rotating between other parts of the baking process, like lamination or the oven. So as you're smaller, you work on more stations simultaneously. And as your production increases, the stations begin to separate because there's more work within each of them. And that's actually all that we did in our transition here, is we just spliced off couple stations away from a building entirely, and as a result we freed that building of all the objects that those stations required, and that was a big need in Mesa, was just freeing up space. It's really no different than when we built an addition on the original garage. It's like a bit of a sigh of relief to have that initial space. But the other side of the coin is, you know, that space is going to start constricting again over time. And Angela, usually with the jalapeno cheddar, we'll just add that to the inclusion stack. So it's kind of treated in line with the inclusions.
Okay.
Can you get me ice for the pizza mix?
Yeah, of course.
I'm just missing honey. So I sprayed this with water beforehand to make the honey just a little bit easier to dispense once scaled. I've never had to do jury duty before. This will be a first. It's like, I found it to be one of the worst timings, because here I am trying to train the whole team on how to mix, and for all I know, I could get stuck on a case for the next 3 months.
One of the good crime series back in the day, if you haven't seen it, is